This episode of Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you are listening to the Capes and the Lunatic Sidekicks podcast.
That's right. We're back. Comic Capers. Just for Lilith, we're doing a whole month of Captain America. Well, welcome back. Got a big one. I am Phil. Like I said, as always, joining me is Lilith Hellfire.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, there she is. And it's big, not because only we're starting this big Captain America run, but we're also joined by big, huge...
Charlie! Sorry, I'm sorry.
Big, huge Marvel fan.
I'm excited! I'm so excited! I'm like D-Man. I'm like a little puppy. It's yay! I get to play too. It's Charlie, the Professor Essa.
And we got lots of feedback to play on this episode, so
Everyone's excited.
that's right. Not as excited as Lilith, of course.
Because it's July, and we're doing Captain America. Get it? Get it?
Actually, it's still June, Lilith.
We publish these in July. Thanks for ruining the illusion, Charlie.
Wait, is this not going to go up for a month, Phil?
No, July 2nd.
July's like a week from now.
Like a week,
Oh.
a week or two, yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know what day it is. I work from my castle now.
All I know is that immediately Phil is posting like the YouTubes and the videos, so you get the raw feed.
Yeah,
so
YouTube
it's
is...
like,
Nobody
you know,
subscribed to our YouTube, so you know. Thanks, guys.
Although they should,
I mean,
because
we love our
they
100
should, because then they'd
subscribers.
get this whole joke, and they'd know, oh, wow, oh, see, we have that exclusive content. We're not one of the hoi polloi just waiting for Philip to deign them with the podcast. No, we're getting it live, fresh, raw, feeling the emotions as they happen.
that's right. Heck, on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, you can watch these live. YouTube, you get them early, and then, of course, they come to the podcast.
There you go, man. People got to do that. I don't know why they don't.
But yeah, like I was saying the other day, I was going to promote these as like this first episode we're doing Captain America 327 through 331, March through July 1987. I was going to promote these as the origin of U.S. Agent, coming soon to Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier. But as Charlie reminded me, we also get like the origin of Battlestar.
Mm-hmm.
Get some early D-Man.
Yes. Well, and technically this isn't the origin, because clearly Cap has already had a run-in with Super Patriot prior to this.
Yeah, but I don't think they ever explain where it came from, though.
No, that is true. But yeah, but hey, can we talk about, or do you want to do us first and then go to the tape? How do you do it here? Do you go to the tapes first? Do you sprinkle them throughout?
Well, we'll cover each issue and then we'll play a feedback, because like I said, Matt Kona sent a feedback for each individual issue, and then Ray sent for the whole thing, so then we'll play his at the end. So
can we talk about these drugs that make you hyper aggressive in the Marvel Universe? Because they gave them to the Punisher. We know they gave them to John Walker, and they're clearly giving them to Lamar in this whole thing.
Can we just call it PCP, or
it's something.
on the nose?
are they doing drugs, or is that just the augmentation process?
Well, no, because you'll remember it comes out later. So, as with the Punisher later, well, actually, he was being drugged. That's why he was shooting litter bugs. He's not really completely crazy. He's just hyper sane, like the Joker. I wonder who did that first, like Punisher the Joker. But, no, he's just so sane, everyone thinks he's crazy. Because that doesn't sound crazy at all. No, but they did the thing with, like, the Punisher when they wanted to, like, say, well, he's too popular to leave as just a crazy lunatic babbling on himself, so bring him back and say someone was drugging him. And then later, like, the very aggressive nature of John Walker gets explained that he was being pumped up by the Red Skull with drugs. Well, at least that's something that they say later. Sort of like how Bucky didn't really mean to kill all those people as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and I mean,
it was all mind control.
And later on, John Walker gets a tragedy too, which kind of, yeah.
Well, he gets lots of tragedies, and of course, you know, well, we don't even want to get to what happens to the other two Buckys in this.
Oh,
that's a story that just like, oh, well, that was not at all redemptive for John Walker, was it?
No.
But that's not in this story.
But yeah,
and the two Hispanic, white Hispanic though, other Buckys. I think they actually call themselves like right wing and left wing or something. It's
yeah, yes, left winger and right winger, yes,
yes.
But that's later.
And then poor Lamar, but Lamar is the one burning, like, you know, yelling at the foreigners, burning their lawns.
Yeah, I know.
Probably working for Gaddafi. Remember when Gaddafi was a threat? So you got to remember, this is like way before 9/11. This is when we were like best buds with Saddam. You got to go way back. Literally, we were like we were tight with Saddam. Saddam and us, we were like, yeah, man, let's build that gun to the moon. We're gonna do that with you. But Gaddafi, he was the bad guy. He's the guy who put the line of death. Remember the line of death? You crossed the line of death. Gaddafi was going to send kamikaze subs at you. I was there, man.
But yeah, I know you messaged me. You were kind of upset at Lamar in the beginning of this issue.
Yeah, he doesn't get much going on for him except for being like apparently a horrible racist.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just I'm guessing maybe not. I don't think any of them are that educated, because I think later on, after he gets the government job, Lamar, like, they send him for his GED and stuff. You know, he goes back to school for his GED and stuff. So I'm assuming he didn't graduate high school.
Good enough diploma. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you. Especially you can go into college after once you have that.
Oh, yeah.
I actually know a lot of people that were of the idea, why didn't I just drop out of high school because it's stupid, get my GED and go right to college? And
yeah.
You know, because a lot of people feel, you know, education.
Yeah, the high school system is trash. I will totally agree with that.
Well, actually, there's an entire theory that actually it's not high school that's the problem. It's junior high. That junior high is where you just have kids spinning their wheels. And that, but you know, see me, I'm a slow developer. So actually, by the time I got through high school, I was actually kind of mature enough for college. In fact, it took me like an extra 2 years after, you know, when I, you know, did my Mr. Wizard tour and toured the world and all that kind of stuff. And then I was ready for college. Not everybody is. And then I stepped out of college because I still wasn't.
Should embrace a gap year, like Europe does, but that's a whole nother thing.
Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, Lamar comes off very bad in this.
Yeah, because they're just like vandalizing the International House and torching the front lawn.
Yeah, and this reminds me of an episode that comes much later when Battlestar and Cap team up, when Cap is still the captain.
Yes.
And they have this little exchange about, you know, you briefly held the name Bucky, and did you do honor to my fallen partner's name? He says, look, that wasn't really my choice. He said, no, just tell me, were you an honorable Bucky?
Yeah, I think we're getting there.
Back when Bucky was still dead. And he's like, well, you know, I did my best. And it says, that's good enough for me. Because Cap is super trusting. I'm just thinking, now he's just talking about when he was actually Bucky, not when he was one of the Buckies, the bold urban commandos.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, can I just say how shocking it is it took Cap this long to realize that these guys were pro wrestlers with names like the bold urban commandos.
I mean, in a world with superheroes and supervillains, I mean, you don't have to be, you know, that bold, and it doesn't necessarily scream wrestler to be this bold and flashy.
I guess. I mean, yes, you are right, but also just, you know, when you have the Unlimited Wrestling Federation, you know. Although well, we'll get to that because that's the next issue. So let's talk about this issue. So right now,
but yeah. Meanwhile, on the same campus, Steve Rogers is visiting Bernie. He's about to find out his ex-fiance.
It
Yeah.
wasn't wasn't envelopes. We don't need that sound drop.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. This was Bernie's choice. It's the fact that, Cap, he's a loving guy. And, here's what I'm gonna tell you. Sometimes you need someone to say, you know what, I'm not right for you. And it breaks your heart, but I'm gonna tell you this. Years later, you go and say, you know what, you were right. You weren't right for me.
That's all right. Yeah, but then she comes back later once get all back together, and then he's got a new girlfriend.
Which one? Which girlfriend did he have then?
Diamondback.
Carter? What?
Diamondback.
Oh, Diamondback. Oh, yeah.
Well, she's had a few, huh?
She's a bad guy. Don't be like she's not the bad guy. She knows she's the bad guy.
Okay.
We're the bad
She's
guy.
the Catwoman. It's like wait, you think Bruce is going to be saying, I never realized, Selena, that you were not a gasp virgin. I mean.
Well, Bruce being Bruce, he totally has an incel mentality every now and then, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Detective.
This is true too. But we all know that Cap's been dogging it since the 40s, so, Cap's an understanding dude, It's like, actually, by the time I dated this girl's sister, totally not my fault. They were hiding on me. They weren't up front with stuff with me, but yeah, totally did her sister. So
whoa.
Hey, Cap said it, not me, man.
I know. But they hear about those fires, and yeah, Cap's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of part of the reason I'm here. And so he has to hop in the back of that van, get that motorcycle, all Red Brown 70s Charlie Esser, huh?
Yeah, all the way, only a decade after he did it.
Yeah, buddy.
Which is weird, because it was... what I'll say is, it was a cool idea when Reb did it, and then it's like, well, we can't use it just because Reb's doing it. But, I guess what it took is, 10 years later, the guys who watched the Captain America movie said, no, those actually weren't horrible. This wasn't Batman and Robin. This was Reb Brown Captain America. It was kind of cool. And so they brought in the van with the motorcycle. So I love that, obviously. But I want to go to this concert that has Tina Turner, Willie Nelson, Bruce Springsteen, and Prince.
Was it a We Are the World concert? That sounds like a We Are the World concert.
Well, this was like a We Are America concert.
Well,
because first off, it's organized by the Red Skull, because the Super Patriot's emceeing, which is weird. And again, how did you not know this guy was a wrestler?
You telling me Hulk Hogan never made personal appearances? Come on.
Well, but Hulk Hogan's a wrestler. He's not actually the Hulk in the Marvel Universe. He's just Hulk Hogan. What if Hulk Hogan was the Hulk in the Marvel Universe?
He was the popular bad guy.
Oh, God.
Oh, good.
Somewhere in some timeline, I'm telling you.
Oh,
there's a universe. There's a universe with the Green Hulk Hogan.
Hulk smash, brother.
Yes. And actually, Hulk Hogan is really, really tall. So he actually would have been a very good Hulk for the actual Hulk TV show if Lou Ferrigno was not such a great actor. But yeah, Hulk Hogan is still alive. Lou Ferrigno's still alive too. Despite the steroid abuse, their hearts have done better than D-Man's. But moving right along.
Well, I mean, this was like the big thing of why they're using the Bucky identities too, is because half these a lot of these college kids think Cap's somehow behind all this.
Yeah. These college kids with their radical ideals getting too much education. That's what I says. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because that's the whole debate between Bernie and her roommate. Yeah. I don't trust that dude. That dude is just total, oh, no, what? You don't want to sleep with me now kind of guy? And it's like, oh, Cap is totally going to be down with Reagan. It's like, dude, he was like, he's a New Deal Democrat. What are you talking about? It's like, literally, he's a New Deal Democrat. Like, literally, that was his president. He was the young upstart who voted for this radical guy named Roosevelt. He's going to change things, man. I'm telling you, there's a new deal, dude.
Well, this roommate, you know what they say about them guys in mustaches,
Well, Not all mustaches, but yeah, all mustaches.
Not all mustaches.
But yeah, all mustaches. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't grow this for myself. Well, I do grow this for myself, but it's just so that it's a signaling mechanism,
Whoa.
to let the world know that I, like Harry Mudd, am a person who likes to be noticed. Anyway, so.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, I get those 3 panels of that, bean counter in Washington. Who's this got $1 million back pay? Steve Rogers. Let me look into this.
I would have appreciated this scene way more if they hadn't stole it from the Beverly Hillbillies. Because this is literally an episode of the Beverly Hillbillies, minus the Red Skull, where the IRS guy comes and where they basically recap the Beverly Hillbillies origin. I think this is like the first episode of the series after they did like a pilot movie or something. Like they did a pilot or whatever they did, or they just to remind people what the origins were. And he says, "How can you tell me this man had no income his whole life, and then last year he has $25 million?" And it's like, well, actually, because he was paid in those newfangled dollars, the $1 million. But aside from that, it's a delightful little gag, and I love the idea that auditors are just sitting there going over the paper audits instead of just waiting for a computer to kick something back. Although I guess the computer does kick it back to him, and that's how he notices it. But still, it seems a little more hands-on than the IRS I'm used to. Still waiting, IRS. Still waiting.
Oh.
You got that dang return, man. That's my car money, and I'm waiting for it. I need it before August when the dang inspection sticker expires. I'm done talking. I took a drink. It's time for you guys to
take a drink.
Yeah.
But yes, meanwhile, Cap and Bernie find out that Super Patriot is going to show up at Americade 86.
Americade. I think this is supposed to be like Farm Aid
or Live Aid. Yeah.
Well, but no, because I think it's like it's like if it's Farm, because Willie Nelson was a part of Farm Aid, and there's definitely that that red state roots kind of thing going on here is the idea, which that doesn't like echo historically at all. Except they had Prince, and but then again, Reagan was amazingly less controversial than Trump.
Well, who isn't?
Well, he was better at his job. That's the thing. It's like
Reagan's advisors were better at his job, you should say.
Well,
really,
Reagan
that's what it counts.
What it is Reagan was an actor and could take direction. That's the main difference. It's like Reagan was an actor, and someone said, "Okay, we want you to come from stage left and do this and do that," and Reagan was like, "Okay, yep, sounds like a good scene." And then Reagan would do the scene, and then it'd go back to his trailer. And Trump, as a reality show star, said, "No, I'm gonna jazz it up. They'll fix it.
We're gonna do it live.
We're gonna do it live. It's like, no, we don't do this live. We have to be on. This is for a classic. This job clearly called for a classically trained actor, Mr. Trump. You can't do this if you're not a real actor. I'm not mad that he's a bad president. I'm mad that he's a bad actor. It offends me as an actor." That's where you do the Seinfeld drop, because that's a callback to Watley. And he says, "And this offends you as a Jewish person. This offends me as a comedian." I don't know what the actual jazz sound is there, but anyway. But yeah, so then Captain America and Super Patriot fight.
Yes, backstage at the concert. Yes, because
that wasn't as epic as I was thinking it was going to be.
Well, it's just the start, Lilith. It's just the start.
Well, some stories start strong.
I know.
I.e., Spider-Man stories start strong. I'm just saying.
Let me just say,
you listen to the Ultimate Spider-Cast, by the way.
How is it that nobody is like, "Dude, my car, my truck"?
Everybody has insurance. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know how you make money on insurance in the Marvel universe. That's what I'm saying.
You don't. That's the
And
key.
for what it's worth, it's like, oh, dude, you're in the Midwest. Your insurance rates are low. Oh, no, Super Patriot walked in. It's like, and actuarial tables everywhere going, no!
I mean, yes, the insurance companies can't be making any money because anytime anyone like really bangs up their car, you can just be like, oh yeah, Thor hit it.
It was Thor. Well, no, they actually...
And he took off.
There's a whole thing about that, actually.
Oh, no.
Actually, this is actually... No, because they did a thing about it in... was it Secret Invasion? It was one of them. One of the things. And it was a cabbie talking about Spider-Man destroying his cab. And it's like, yeah, you get smashed by the Fantastic Four or the Avengers.
Crazy.
There's like an address you can reach out to. And they usually make good. But, you get smashed by Spider-Man.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, back in the day, all the Avengers were just like, yeah, send the Tony Stark, send the bill to Tony Stark.
Well, no, but they had an address. There was an Avengers mansion. There was a, Forest Freedom Plaza or a Baxter Building. There was a place.
Oh, yeah.
Where when the thing crushes up that car and tosses it, and they get sued for that later, that guy got his money back. Yeah, the thing was hot-tempered, but, probably got a better cab than he had before, The fact that the guy probably had a lot of underlying issues with his own emotional state that made it difficult. Because I'm sure Reed was there the next day. He's like, dude, I'm sorry, Ben did that. Here is, buy yourself 2 cabs, okay?
Here's some acne medication. Never have acne again.
Oh, he sold that one like... He keeps on selling the cure for acne. I don't know. I think he's actually inventing super acne in his lab on occasion. Just, I should put a little super acne out there that my old medication doesn't work on anymore. Make sure I'm staying ahead of the game.
But I mean, Lilith, how can you say this isn't like an epic fight? I mean, like we were just saying, property damage. I mean, is Cap's...
It's not as impressive as I was expecting. That's all that I'm saying.
I mean, Cap's punching the guy. Is like, man, it's like punching a brick wall.
Yeah,
I've just never been one for Captain America action, I think. I just don't think they capture it very well. It's not... I don't know. It's just something about it. It's not as fluid or dynamic as, like, say, Spider-Man or... Other things that I read.
As this story goes on, I think it gets better, and I mean, and that they really change artists, and it's like, Lilith, I'll put it to you this way: I think this is kind of like Captain America's Nightfall, except they like break his spirit instead of his back.
And that's worse. That's the worst thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but they don't really break his spirit.
Well, he's kind of down for a while when he first has to quit, as we'll get to next episode.
Oh, yeah, well, no,
he's having an existential crisis, as you do.
Yeah, as
you should. It's healthy to have those every now and then.
The reality is that because he gets, as we see in the next issue when we go there, and actually I think it's the 3rd issue when we go there, it's like, he says, well, if you want, I could, I'd love to see what we could do if we could put some extra muscles on you. Because Malice is like, wow, you've got, as the leader says to Blonsky, I think you've got something in you already. If I give you this, it might make you into an abomination. And, just to be winky. But, Malice is like, no, sounds fun. Malice does not have the scientific ethics of the leader. And that is something I think we should all take away from this. Malice is like, yep, don't even care about informed consent.
Oh, jeez.
Don't even care.
But yeah, so they basically...
And that's how we get Jessica Joneses.
But yeah, they basically fight and destroy this parking lot for like a half an hour, and then Super Patriot's basically like, oh no, I hear Springsteen, so we're gonna go.
Anyway, here's Conway Twitty. Sorry, I have to have my Family Guy jokes. I have to.
No,
I got that reference.
Yes. Who doesn't like Conway Twitty? That's actually a hee-haw reference, so there you go. Hee-haw.
But yeah, Cap's like, did I lose? He's like, no, it's a draw. He gave up.
Well, yeah, and honestly, I gotta say, I think, it's... this is the problem with protagonist armor. It fails when the writer doesn't want you to have it. Because later, we'll see Cap freaking Supermaning chains when he's tied up with a Maricop, and he just, bursts out of the chains. Because he's just that jacked as Captain America.
He had his buckwheat pancakes. It was fine.
Aunt May's wheat cakes, man. Charged by Mephisto.
But yeah, I mean, the issue just basically ends with Bernie thinking, "Oh, I guess this isn't a good time to tell him the engagement's off," and the bean counter again.
Oh, he's not doing anything weird. He's having fun nerding. It's like, oh, okay, this guy was this guy.
Oh, he's one of those accounting nerds. Okay.
He's an accounting nerd. There's nothing.
Man, you need those guys. Trust me.
Yeah, well, and at least he's using his. I mean, he
books.
wants to use his powers for good. He's not like he's an Enron accounting nerd. Those guys were evil nerds. Those were evil nerds. He was a good nerd trying to do good for the government. Just making sure nobody was hiding their income. He's a good nerd. He wants to do right, and he even feels bad when he realizes oh man, did I screw up somebody's life with this? But that's later issues. But yeah, so Cap can't beat Super Patriot up because not every fight should be beating a guy up. And as he says, I'm a way better fighter than this dude, but he is really strong.
Be gentle with me.
It's like it's like the Hulk.
The Hulk?
I don't even remember that drop.
Oh, then you definitely don't remember this.
The Hulk's always hard.
But what can I say? I am such a...
Pickle. That I do remember.
Okay. So, I know... Hey, you want to hear Matt Kona's thoughts on this issue?
Sure. Hey, Matt Kona, what happened in this issue?
Hi, Phil and Lilith. Good to be here. Here's my 6-part feedback. I think I liked the first issue, maybe 327 of Captain America. Maybe the most, because it was so odd, and also it happens to have some ringings of truth in today's world, which is good or bad. But good to talk about, bad to be reminded about, we'll say. So we see Lamar and Hector, 2 Captain America impersonators, bullying Middle Easterners using a combination of racism and Ben Gring slang, like ever-loving. And I love that they misspelled their lawn burnings. These bold urban commandos called Buckies, which probably annoyed Captain America even more. Maybe that's why he's on the investigation. And I love villains, superheroes that travel by limo, like Super Patriot, drinking a beer with this SS wearing lady. I don't know if it's a Hydra logo on her hat, but I don't know. There's so many nefarious organizations that kind of go through this big arc of issues. I love seeing Steve Rogers being referred to as a comic book artist, and he meets his I guess, fiance, Bernie. Steve Rogers is a Bernie bro at her campus. I think she's there for law school in Wisconsin. Maybe a young Quasar is hanging out somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
And her roommate asks if they want to go check out the lawn burnings, and Steve says go ahead. He'll hang back, but he's kind of there not just to see his fiancée who's having second thoughts, but also to investigate it, but doesn't want to arouse Paul's suspicion. And then Paul compares Steve's body to a Russian. What? Come on. That's all red-blooded American there. Love seeing Cap on the motorcycle. Shows up to the International House, which has been defaced. And he gets confused because the people that ruined it were wearing Captain America masks, so they knock over his motorcycle. The police are reluctant to let him investigate. I know it's rare that they have Midwestern superheroes around. And then one of my favorite moments is when Paul invites Steve to watch him debate his fiancée Bernie about whether or not Captain America voted for Ronald Reagan. I'm going to say Cap voted for Dukakis. I think that, actually, I think this might have been pre-Dukakis. So, Mondale? Maybe not. Maybe he did vote for Reagan, but just because he was a movie star at the time before Cap got frozen.
This was 86.
That's how I would justify it. Things get stranger. We find out that Super Patriot is going to the America Aid concert. Steve says he'll get his hotline boys to get him some tips. And then meanwhile, we find out that Steve Rogers is having some problems with the IRS. Back to the concert. There's no talking heads there. That causes a lot of controversy. Super Patriot is going up so just before the Heartbreakers. I assume they didn't want to put Tom Petty's name in there, which is kind of odd. They put Springsteen's later. And he intends to rap. Okay. Cap uses his Avengers idea as a backstage pass to get to talk to Super Patriot. There's some great zinging, as you know, that I like. Grandpa America. And he says that Cap should be at a Lawrence Welk concert. Ooh. And it's pretty good. And then Super Patriot says that he'll confess to anything Cap wants him to if he beats him in battle. And then he immediately goes to sucker punch him after Cap walks away. They fight for exactly 27 minutes before Soups tosses him down some stairs. Tosses some stars into Cap's chest after they've wrecked a couple of cars in the parking lot. And then he goes back to Bernie feeling kind of deflated about not winning the fight. She considers whether to drop the news that she also doesn't want to marry him. And then it finishes off with some tax trouble. So I kind of like that it was Cap out of in a situation
classic
that he's not
80s situations.
Distrusted
80s sitcom
and all that. But overall, not a bad way to start the arc. Okay, so that's my feedback on that one.
Hey-o. All right.
Got a boom tis insight. Proud of you, Matt.
And there it goes.
I know, man.
What the F? What the F?
What the Faulkner?
Whoa. All right, so should we get to
Sound and Fury, man?
All right, that one was Matt Kona's favorite issue. Should we get to Charlie Esser's favorite issue?
Ooh.
Let's talk about the greatness that is D-Man, or the lovable. He and Lockjaw need to do more together because they're both puppies. They're both these big brown-eyed puppies who just want to be loved.
Oh my.
And I still say Lockjaw can talk. I don't care what anyone says. It's hard for him. He can't do it often. He doesn't do it often. He's not going to do it just to show that he can talk. He's only going to do it for Quicksilver because he wants Quicksilver to know, dude, you're messing with people's lives.
Are we talking about...
So he's the Maggie? He's the Maggie Simpson.
He's the Maggie Simpson. He can talk. He just doesn't want to.
I was going to say, hard to talk and messing with people's lives. We're talking about Trump?
No, Trump.
Please leave our president alone. He's going through a lot right now.
Aren't we all?
He's not going through enough.
So, anyway.
We won't. Let's not get political.
Let's keep Charlie in a good
story about Captain America.
You know we're talking about Captain America.
An apolitical hero.
I was going to say let's keep Charlie in a good mood. D-Man.
D-Man. Yay.
So that sounds like a character that should be my favorite character, but yet somehow.
Let me tell you what I love about this.
If only he had a 69 on his chest.
There we go.
Well, it's because of Daredevil, who's one of his favorite superheroes. He's like a pre-Phil Coulson. He's like a buff Phil Coulson. He's just a big superhero nerd. And he just was like, oh, that's so cool. You're like which is also kind of probably why, like, Ben was like, he was like cool with him, but he was like, dude, not for nothing, Dennis, but you're kind of really obsessed with the fact that I was a superhero. And I get that that's a big thing, and I know, but it's like, dude, I'm like a whole man. I have a whole life. Not all about punching Dr. Doom. I like the Mets. I'm a Mets fan. If most people don't know that about me, they think I'm a Yankees fan. I'm not. I'm totally about the Mets. And
Mets, Nets, and Jets, dang straight.
Man, it's but Cap comes to the gym of the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation. Everyone assumes he must be like a new guy who's going to be a wrestler. Yes. They're like, dude, you can't use that costume. There's already a Captain America.
And they don't believe him, no matter how much he says, oh, I'm the real Captain America. And they just, start attacking.
Well, they're kind of professional wrestlers,
not the deepest thinkers.
Well, no. What I will say, and this is actually kind of the point that they make, is like, man, I thought he'd be bigger, which is a running gag in this whole storyline, which is like, oh, Cap has the very first version of this great augmentation thing, and then that was like, this was 1940s technology at its finest. It's like, these are the smallest vacuum tubes ever made, and it is just like, oh, okay, yeah. And he is very outclassed by all of the modern heroes, and that's what, because spoilers for the future, kids. Spoilers. The Red Skull is pulling the strings.
Well, it's a Cap story, so naturally.
Well, at this point, everyone thought he was dead. He died in 300.
Yeah.
You never believe that.
I know.
You never believe that.
And Joker died in Batman #1. So,
I know. But it's like, but the thing though is like, they really don't even like hint that there's like a mastermind behind this until like, what is it, like 345 or something maybe?
Yeah, but what I'll say is, if you go retrospectively, it's pretty obvious.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty obvious, like, oh.
But actually, I mean, they're not so obvious that they come out and say, oh, hey, there's a secret, someone's behind this.
What I'll tell you is the minute that lieutenant shows up in Malice's lab, I'm like, why is a guy who's being called the lieutenant here? I didn't even realize that he was, I had actually forgotten about his betrayal of freaking, why am I,
who, Sharon Ventura?
Sharon Ventura, yeah. Carol Danvers kept jumping in my head. It's like, that's not you. You're not Ms. Marvel. You're Captain Marvel. Be there. No, Sharon Ventura, that, I even forgotten about him in that story. And the entire idea of the lieutenant being there, right there, that is your big red flag that, oh, this goes deeper. And then when we get the government conspiracy in these issues, basically, if you didn't realize, and I think a few episodes later, we are going to see Del Rusk. And Del Rusk is like, oh, okay. And granted, Del Rusk is a brilliant way to hide your identity, because you don't think people are actually going to use an anagram of their supervillain name. If he had just been John Smith, no one would have questioned it.
That's right.
And, actually, probably if he was John Smith, everyone would have questioned it, because,
I mean, just the idea.
He could have been Mormon.
This is true, too.
Just the body he was inhabiting. He could have called himself Roger Stevens.
Well, except Steve uses that all the time. He does it again in this.
Must work.
Or is it this? No, this is this issue that he uses the Roger Stevens.
Oh yeah, when he goes for ice cream, yeah.
Yeah,
that's no matches Malone. Or
yes, well,
Oh, but Charlie, you had to have loved this, because not only is it D-Man who breaks up the fight, but he says, "I know how to tell if this is the real Cap. Hey, Cap, where did you first meet Ben Grimm?"
And what's funny about that is that's not the answer that would be like mysterious, because the comic books are published in this universe.
Yeah.
So you would know that Cap and Ben Grimm had met when the Avengers and the Fantastic Four both fought the Hulk. So it's not like, no, actually we had, met at Cat's Delicatessen 2 weeks before, because, Cap loves him some pastrami. And that would have been a really interesting way to phrase that. But, I didn't write this book, and it's just, but it is something that really anyone would probably know.
Yeah.
Because that is the official answer. The official answer is they met, and that is when in comic book continuity they first met. But, it's entirely possible that, like I said, they met at Clancy's bar, They met at Archie's place.
So D-Man tells them, this is the real Cap, and then he asks him why he's there, and, Cap tells him he's looking for a lead on Super Patriot, and then D-Man's like, hey, why don't we jump in the shower?
Yeah, and At this point, I realized that the later reveal that D-Man is gay, really, it was there all along. It really was. This is just who D-Man is, and it's fine. And he's out and he's proud, and I love D-Man for this. And him and Cap, they're going to shower together, as you do.
He gives him his origin while they're showering.
Yeah, as you do. And I like that he's was a football star who'd never really, although it seems like he did do college. I mean, he went to college, right? Because it seems like he was a college football player.
I believe so, yeah.
Because he goes to I don't think the NFL will recruit out of high school. For numerous reasons, you don't want to recruit out of high school for the NFL because you do want people to be at a older state where they're more physically
it's just free
developed.
Training. That's all that's really about.
Oh yeah, he says back in college I was just another normal all-American redneck jock. Yeah,
and I liked that. And he has his beard on his shoulder, the cheerleader, so that's nice. And yet he says, "Hey, Cap, you want to take a shower?" Because let's just see how super the soldier is.
Whoa.
Although, as Miss Ferrari will tell you, peak human levels. So they have a nice shower. He tells them about how he became, he wanted to go pro, but he realized now he's too strong to play pro. So what's he going to do? So he goes back to the power broker. Power broker says, "Oh yeah, well why don't you go?" Also, it's weird that the power broker does all this on spec.
Yeah, but he also has those drugs supposedly that stabilizes their condition, and if they don't come back for the drugs, they start going into withdrawals.
What is this, the boys?
Yeah, it is.
Basically.
It is exactly that. Although it's a weird question in the boys if the serum V actually needs to be taken to maintain powers, or if it just gives them the boost. Because it seems like the illegal serum V trade in the boys is not VITE approved, or maybe it is, and it's just a secondary stream. Well, we do know that, of course, at least in the TV version, that was all the Homelander's plan to create supervillains. Because how is he going to keep a job if there's no real supervillains? Because that's practical.
Oh yeah, so. Yeah, D-Man saying about how, he's buddies with Ben Grimm and...
Oh, yes. And Cap, I know how busy you superhero types are. I know how hard it is to keep track with us little people. Gee, it'd be sure nice if you needed a guy to help you out. Hey, I know this power broker guy. Maybe I could help you out. I got a costume, Steve. I got a costume. Can I wear my costume? Would you like to see my costume?
I'll shave my head for you.
My costume?
I'll shave my head for you.
Yeah, well, because he's too famous to be seen with his mohawk. You have to understand. Oh, gosh, that is just he's a big brown puppy dog.
Oh, yeah, because Cap's like, don't you have professional commitments? I could cancel, no problem.
Exactly. Cap was really don't want to have the situation, but D-Man, he just pulls you in. It's I'm starting to understand why Cap was just oh yeah, D-Man, I remember working with him. Kind of feeling a little Ben Grimm stuff now too. It's oh, okay, maybe I totally misjudged these guys. Where it's yeah, he's a little needy. He's a needy guy. Which is sad, because in his own right, he should be his own hero.
Oh, yeah, and so Cap says he'll meet him tonight. Oh, the van will be blue tonight, because it does change colors.
Ooh, fancy.
Because when he got this van to travel the country, you know what that is? Wakandan tech.
Wakandan, it's the best tech there is.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
And then more tax stuff in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, well, it's a plot line they're going to deal.
Oh, yeah. Is this? Yeah, they're sending people out to try to find Cap, I think.
Yeah, well, they are because they want to talk to him about this whole superhero thing, you know.
Oh, yeah. They will talk to him next issue. Yeah. I mean, next episode.
Yeah, next episode, Captain America, no more.
Oh, Lord. But then the meetup. Hey, Cap, I look so different without my mohawk, huh?
He is.
Tell him he looks nice, for the love of God.
You look pretty, Dennis. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. He just wants to know he wants to know he's a part of the team. He wants to know he's beloved.
I'm sorry, he's Pat Dugan. This is Pat Dugan.
I'm not a fancy man.
I don't know who Pat Dugan is, but okay.
Stargirl? Pat?
Oh, that guy. You mean Stripe? S-T-R-I-P. Stripe.
Luke Wilson, yeah.
Luke Wilson. Okay, yes. Yeah. Well, see, he was that to Starman, not necessarily the Stargirl. So that's
not yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll talk about all that on Capes and Lunatics because.
Oh yeah.
I got notes and quotes. I'm not sure about it. But yeah, scroll up because that comes out after this, I think.
So what's your? So they're talking in the van, and Cap check with the West Coast Avengers. Oh, another name of interest to Charlie Esser. All I got is Dr. Carl Malice.
Dr. Carl Malice. Which Cap
with a name like that, you're just begging for your kid to be
Evel.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Malice is a family name, and it's U.S.
Sounds German.
Well, I'm guessing it is. You know, Carl's a German name, generally speaking, and and they tried to all hippy dippy him in the Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah.
Don't even.
No.
Don't even.
How about
Don't say, no, man, I'm doing the balance of the universe Thanos-y stuff now. So it's no, you're not. You're not. You're a sociopathic scientist who experiments on human beings, so.
Homeless people?
No. No, that you have to be punchline for.
No, we can discuss that.
Go bar to the face, man.
Oh, jeez.
That's all I want every issue. It's just.
So yeah.
Just because you're a lady don't mean you're not punchable.
I mean, you ain't a tramp.
I'm just saying.
Guess
be punchable. We'll get a lady to punch you, but you're still punchable. That's the comics code.
Speaking of,
that's why we got female supervillains to start with. Ladies needed to punch people, and they were like, "Oh, I'll punch this person."
Speaking of fancy showboats, D-Man shows Cap his new costume. They're checking Malice's last lab, and then Cap's recapping. Cap's recapping the last issue and stuff. And
I do like the idea of the legwork of superheroism.
Yes,
which is something you never see. It's like, okay, yeah, no, this lab was a dud, but let's look for clues. Let's do some detective work like they do over in Batman from time to time.
Well, this was Grunwald's writing. He was always methodical. It's always, there was hardly ever was it just like, oh yeah, we always luck into it the first time.
And then it's D-Man who's like, hey, I went out because I'm doing this now with you. So I went out and hung out at the Roid Gym to say, hey, anyone got any good roids? And they're like, hey, do you want some super roids? Here's a business card for the guy you're looking for.
At Hal Lee's Karate Academy?
Hal Lee's, man. Well, yeah. Because everyone knows Kung Fu is the ultimate superpower, but some people don't want to... Some people are Ed Grubermans, okay? They don't want to walk the path of Taekwondo Leap. They want to boot people in the head now. And if you want to boot people in the head now, you're going to need a little help. So it's like the guy goes to Hal Lee's, Kung Fu Academy to become a Kung Fu master and be better than the best. But they're like, oh wait, this is going to take a lifetime of study and commitment? No, I want a shortcut. So, this is the guy with the shortcuts. So there you go.
Do you want to be the best around? You want nothing to keep you down?
Yeah, yes, I do, but not if it's interfere with my lunch schedule. I was going to eat tacos at 2, so I want to eat tacos and be amazingly super powerful. Can you do both? Well, no, not under the masterful way of Kung Fu, which will make you the greatest champion that ever was. I said, no, I don't want to be that. I just want to beat people up. Or beat people up who don't know kung fu. It's like, oh, well, if you do want to beat people up who don't kung fu, here's steroids, and that's how the Power Master makes his money.
So yes,
some are, some aren't. That's to Tristan's question of whether or not steroids are illegal.
Oh,
you want to be doctor prescribed.
Yes, but so I guess the power
like Dr. Malice, happy to prescribe.
Yes, I guess Malice is working out of the back of a ice cream parlor.
Yeah, well, you always need a front.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, that's a really high traffic front. You know, an ice cream parlor, although there is like a place that's called Gabby's, Italian ices and hot dogs that's never open in Newark. That's if it's never open, I get it. But if you just have it, you walk in and have to say the secret order.
Yes.
You wonder how many people come in and just make the secret order just because that's what they want, and they get, okay, come on to the back. Why? Just come into the back. It's like, what superheroes? What?
I went in for ice cream and I came out with muscles. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a Marvel Comics origin waiting to happen. Man, you imagine if someone just accidentally walked into the antique shop and gave the code word to that lady?
Oh.
In 1940. So, I guess you're the guy who's being the new Captain America, huh? What?
Yes.
Whoa!
Yeah, because he goes into like a peanut butter and praline mint sundae. The guy's like, with a cherry? No, sprinkles.
Exactly.
I mean, they don't show it. They don't show it, but I would think you would have to give the password and show that business card that D-Man got handed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Although, that's what I'm going to say. It's like randomness is random. So
I guess.
It's fairly possible that, yes, you got the business card, you went in, you just really wanted... And yes, I get why the mint and the praline don't sound like they go together, but just because it doesn't sound like it goes together doesn't mean it doesn't.
Maybe they just picked like the rarest thing that people usually order, and they're like, okay, that's the password.
Well, actually, pralines are common. Mint is common. The combination is what's odd.
That's what I'm saying. The combination. You got to get that combination exactly right.
Because both are common, it's likely people are going to do it. That's what I'm saying. It's likely.
I wonder if they's like sizing up the people too. It's like if a 6-year-old comes in and orders that, they're like, yeah, no, he ain't coming here for no strength augmentation.
Yeah, but you know what? If a big fat guy comes in, if I come in and say, I'd love like some pralines and like a mint sundae.
And do you love wrestling, sir? Well, do I?
Oh, I do. You want to cheer on that? Sprinkles. Because, sprinkles, it's all over. The cherry, it's just one cherry, but the sprinkles, give me the sprinkles. And that's how I became a superhero.
So, yeah, Steve walks down this hall and gets scanned, and then he comes to a guy. Oh, look, are there 4 lights?
Are there 4 lights? Yeah. I got to tell you, I got a feeling that there was like some thought they wanted to make Charles Xavier the power broker in this because he never gets up. He's bald.
Well, it's a dummy.
Yeah, that's the thing. But then no, because they also show him like at the machine and he's still bald and sitting in a chair and working the machine. So maybe he's an animatronic. I don't know, but yeah, that's a thing.
But yeah, but I mean, he's asking him about the, why do you want the strength augmentation process and blah, blah, blah. And
I love the lie detector saying, it's 9.5 that he's lying. It's 7.8,
Truth probability index, yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind of has to give him a version of the truth. It's like, yeah, that Super Patriot made a chump of me, man. I want to get back at him.
Which is, sort of true. Mm-hmm. True enough for a true, as they say. Anyway, yeah, so...
All right. Lilith may be back soon. She said the power grid down there is being a little wonky.
It's all those dang armadillos, man. Armadillos and toads. And it's like COVID toads now, so God knows what
Well, thank God Charlie Esser's here.
Well, goodness, thank you. That's why I came. But hey, anyone else have anything to say about this episode?
Oh, yeah, Matt. I told you Matt sent some for the...
Yes, I know. That's why I'm transitioning to that.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah.
I'm running out of thoughts, though, so come on.
Oh, you want to skip the rest of the issue where, like, yeah, Steve rushes them. He kind of gets taken prisoner, and who has to run to his rescue, Charlie, and bring him his shield?
runs to his rescue, and they split up, which gives Cap the time. So it's one of these things where it's like he's running to his rescue, but he's also kind of like just punching people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to the point where it's again, this idea that he's a professional wrestler, he actually should know how to fight. Although one can make the argument that a professional wrestler doesn't necessarily know how to fight, just how to look like to fight.
Yes.
It's like, you know, if you're fighting a stuntman, yes, the stuntman knows how to roll with a punch, so you can't really hurt him, but he doesn't necessarily know how to land a punch in a certain way.
Yeah.
He can make a punch look good, but he actually knows how to make a punch look good without actually hurting someone. So that's your problem with being a professional wrestler in a fight. You know, it's a little harder and a little different. Whereas Cap is, you know, always fighting for his life like Conan, and jumps around and, you know, uses his smarts and his elements of surprise and all his strategery to gain the advantage. And then when they split up, you know, and of course throughout the whole thing, maybe I should think about upgrading, you know.
Well, yeah, because like Malice was like kind of started augmenting Steve, and then he's like, "Why would you do that?" And Malice is like, "Oh, I wanted to see if I can make your muscles explode or whatever." You know, if someone gets left under there long enough, their muscles will explode.
Which is just a weird thing to want to find out.
I mean, unless it's
it's like saying, "Hey, if I put the ants into the magnifying glass, what happens next?"
I mean, unless it's not for, you know, scientific purposes, quote unquote. It's like, you know, how you know, how long and how far can I augment someone before they die?
Please put the toy down. Yeah, sorry. Tristan's cooking food, so I have to advise and consent. And
yes.
Tell him not to be watching YouTube while he's doing it, because
okay,
it ends poorly.
So basically the whole thing is Steve was debating, you know, should I, you know, because D-Man's like, I'll force him to complete the treatment, you know, if you want super strength, I'll do, you know.
Yeah, well, and that's D-Man. That's D-Man being D-Man.
We could be so much alike, Steve.
Yes. He just wants to be Steve's best friend. He wants the job. There's a sidekick opening. And, you know, Cap is like, okay, you know? Yeah. I mean, it's this whole round of issues, you know, like I said, D-Man does not come off at his best, but he also comes off as a guy with the heart of a champion. He wants to be a hero. And I think Cap is full of self-doubt about the fact that he is, you know, state-of-the-art 1940s technology. He's having a lot of toaster issues where he's feeling like, oh man, am I the obsolete model? Yeah. Maybe all these new fancy appliances are what the master wants, and I am just, you know, I should be tossed in the trash bin of history. Maybe I should just retire and, you know, me and Peggy run off because she's around at this point, or me and Bernie. What the heck? Run off with Bernie. Be with Bernie. Have some super kids. It'll be great. I'm giving it up, man. Yeah, it's a young man's game. And I'm like 97 at this point. True. So, you know, let's be honest here. So, yeah. I would have loved more of that in this whole thing, where him actually debating. Yeah. Like, you know, maybe I should really just give up being a Captain America. I mean, honestly, there's lots of people around. Although I think that really this is what kind of hurts it, is that Super Patriot is such a bad Captain America.
Yeah. We'll find that out.
Mm-hmm. We know that Super Patriot is bad at this point, that he's like, I can't stop doing this because someone else will. You know, because Roscoe might have been a good guy to be Captain America, but the guys that would take it up next will be bad at the job. Yes. Because they're going to be Reagan Captain Americas. And we know that's not good.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's get some Matt Kona feedback in here.
Yes.
I know there's going to be a Baskin Robbins joke in here.
Okay, Cap 328. I appreciate what they did with the cover. D-Man is on it, and they kind of reference the fact that he's easily confused with early Daredevil and Wolverine, which he'll go to explain later. Now they're back in L.A., Cap is back in L.A. He visits the workout room for Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation, the UCWF for short, and he is there. So we've got, I don't know how much time has passed from the previous issue, but we soon learn that he's sort of picking up on where that storyline left off. The wrestlers there don't believe it's really him, but they decide to verify that fact by attacking him. I like the wrestlers' names: Ice Pick, Red Zeppelin, and then Steamroller. Some of them are less impressive. Jersey, okay. And a big red mohawked guy named Demolition Dumpy breaks it up and determines if it's the real Cap by asking where he met former WCWF wrestler Ben Grimm, who was fighting with the Hulk in the Avengers back in the Fantastic Four number 26. The Fantastic Four were fighting Hulk too. They kind of let off some steam by going into a steam room, and they learn about the steroid treatment from this guy called the Power Breaker. It's a 6-hour-long procedure, which gives you 100 times strength. And D-Man originally wanted to use that treatment to pursue his dream of being a punter in football. First of all, punter is one of two positions in football that can be done by non-athletic 40-year-old men. So
he was doing a 90-yard punt.
He reveals more information. He says that 3/4 of the USWF have had the augmentation treatment, and the rest must be mutants. Okay, they kind of never go back to that. The demo fills him in on the fact that the Thing wrecked Power Broker's shop. He's the man behind all the augmentations. The people who had the treatment had to go cold turkey, which is really painful, and it gives capital to former applicants. So he's trying to identify the two racist Captain America mask wearers that were ripping up the International House in Wisconsin. A bunch of stuff doesn't pan out, and the book doesn't work, but they decide to go do some further investigating. So D-Man is born. Demolition Dumpy shows up with the superhero costume, and Cap is not totally on board with it, but the guy already shaved off his mohawk, so he has anointed himself D-Man. He's going with it. They go back to the government thing. That's not going to pay off for this entire storyline, but they keep just planting the seed. Classic Grunwald, letting you know that there's going to be another storyline to pick up right after this. So if you're interested in tax evasion, then you're going to love issue 332 coming up. They find the name Dr. Carl Malice from some West Coast Avengers intel off panel as happens. And I love the fact that D-Man is so upfront about how his costume is based on Daredevil's old one. Which, if you think of it, is a pretty good move, because Daredevil will never see this and get mad, because he's blind. They go on an all-night laboratory search. They don't find anything. There's D-Man fills them in about Super Patriot and the smear campaign and their past run-ins. A few days later, D-Man scouts a place that the Power Broker might recruit tough guys, which is Howley's Karate Academy. And he gets a business card, which the address is an ice cream shop. So they get a special code, which I love. If you want to get augmented, you got to go to this ice cream shop and get a peanut butter and praline mint sundae with sprinkles. I've probably heard the word praline a bunch of times in my life. Never known what it was. I looked it up. It's boiled nuts and sugar and then ground up. So Steve Rogers goes through this very high-tech thing that scans them for weapons, his body fat percentage, and facial recognition. This is the time before they had to wear masks. There's a shadowy Dr. Claw figure there, and he attacks the figure, which turns out to be a dummy, and then big muscly augmented Dooms comes in to fight him. Their names are Bludgeon and Mangler, but they refer to each other as Chum and Old Bean, like they're 1920s roustabouts.
Yeah, same.
Of course I enjoy. Cap gets trank darted. D-Man is gone. He's been waiting outside for 15 minutes. He storms it in, and he mixes it up with the Bruise Brothers, another classic nickname anointing that I really enjoyed. Cap is in the augmented machine. They detect his genes have had some treatment before, and then the building is compromised. Everyone has to evacuate. Announcement comes on, and they leave as D-Man busts in with Cap's shield. He finds Dr. Malice, who admits he was augmenting Cap to make his muscles explode, and then the gears start turning in his head. With a boost of strength, he could defeat Super Patriot if he keeps the augmentations after he gets free. Cap decides against it, and then the order to bring Captain America in is given in Washington, D.C. We're going on to issue 329. I did enjoy this one. I felt like the whole arc drags a little in parts, but the first two set the stage pretty good. So that's my feedback for 328, everyone. See you in a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the next part, the 329, that's where it drags a little bit because it mostly just takes place in that lab.
Yeah, well, it's a battle story. It's about Cap and it's about Cap's existential crisis, which is, do I get the extra muscles? Do I want to? And is this where he meets the power broker? Do they go to the mansion?
No, not yet, because they've taken Malice prisoner, and then the power broker's men show up, and like Cap's taking them out.
And then the guys come.
They get trapped in that boiler room or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where they go down into the sewers.
Yes.
And they fight that's where we see the night shift.
Well, yeah, they show up in the next issue, but yeah.
Really? How many issues are we in? We've already done 2. We did 4 issues, right? Or we do 5?
5.
In the house or outside? Okay, well, the window's closed, so we don't have to worry about the squirrel getting in there. Yes.
A squirrel?
The squirrel was testing whether or not we had a window here. So good thing I closed the window today. Otherwise, I'd have a squirrel in the house today.
That would be nuts.
Yeah, well, he's trying to figure out if he can get in. Sees you eating rice. He's like, I'd like some rice. And, don't feed the squirrel rice, Tristan. No, but it's your rice. Eat the dang rice. And we don't want the squirrel thinking this is a place he can get a handout. Don't trust squirrels, man. Okay, well, you can go over there and say hi to him through the window. Don't open the window because he'll be in the house in 5 seconds. And then we got squirrels.
But 329 is like such a bottle issue, but it's like, remember Cap and Malice get stuck in that boiler room, and then like when D-Man comes back, he gets taken hostage by the broker's men.
Yeah.
And then, they're like, oh, well, I guess the only way out is into the sewers. And so when Cap and Malice get in the sewers, that's when they get attacked by the freaks.
Yep. The freaks.
Well,
yeah.
Well, the rejects that the augmentation did not go successfully.
Which, again, why are you just tossing them into the... It doesn't make any sense. First off, dude, okay, you had... And here's what's weird about it, is like, you have them sign paperwork to say, hey, it's okay for us to experiment on you, right? But don't have anything for when the experiment goes horribly, horribly awry. Because this doesn't have to be a below-the-boards kind of situation. She said, no, he understood the risks. We explained the risks to him, said that this is an experimental procedure to grant superhumanity. And now, of course, it's not FDA approved, so you'd probably have to do it in like Haiti or something, or Guatemala or somewhere. You have to go to some place where there's a more understanding government about these kinds of things.
Well, Charlie, it is. You remember Marvel, the 70s and 80s. Remember, you came up with this theory. Have we tried killing them yet?
Well, and as we know, there really isn't an OSHA in Marvel.
Exactly.
There's not an OSHA, so it's entirely possible that like a lot of... I get the feeling there's like this whole thing that if you went to the Marvel Universe, you'd find out that Upton Sinclair never wrote The Jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the big turning point. It's like, oh no one ever... It's like, wait, OSHA? FDA? What are these things? It's like, no one ever thought of that. Even like they had a new deal, but no one ever thought, oh, shouldn't we make sure that food isn't made out of, hockey pucks and, dead babies? It's like, no, why? If you want to eat dead babies, that's the market will decide.
Well, I guess, they can't get sued, but is it just like, if we keep them, we got to feed them, and, they're, like, mentally deranged now?
actually, really, literally, you don't have to put them in the sewers. You just say, yeah, okay, dude, you're one of the unlucky 50%. Sorry, dude. Door's that way.
I mean, like, it seems like they're just treating them like toxic waste. They dump them, and then if someone finds it, they're like, oh, that's not ours.
Yeah, well, I guess because there's apparently some kind of, like, loss of mental stability when you undergo the treatment. Although I gotta imagine there's probably gotta be some mutant who's, like, still like, no, dude, I live at, 432 Elm. Or, like, they wouldn't stay in the sewer. They'd like, go to 432 Elm. It's like, because it's like, I have a memory. This is where I live, man. You just have all these mutants crawling out of the sewers all the time. So I don't get how they're going into the sewers, how they're staying in the sewers per se. But I guess maybe that was just the best idea. Although obviously Malice was against it from the start. He said, if they fail, let's make their muscles explode.
Oh yeah,
he really wants to see the muscles explode.
Yeah,
he wants to prop them.
They're evil. I don't know. I mean, Malice and them are evil. I don't know why he did. They just didn't kill them. Yeah.
It's a very weird idea. Well, I guess the power broker, he's like, look, I'm evil, but I just don't want to kill you. I guess it's like, oh, what, waste all those bullets?
Or do you think maybe could they have not been formed right away? Could it have like set in a little at a time or something?
Well, but then why do they all wind up in the sewers underneath?
Well, I think Malice even said, oh yeah, we dumped him in the sewer. I thought he said at one point.
Yeah, although what's funny is that actually,
I mean, yeah, they're not
the thing which I could not get on my Marvel Unlimited. You actually see that there are far more mutated mutates that are kept in cages.
Oh,
that Sharon Ventura sees.
I mean, yeah, they can't get sued. I'm sure they're signing waivers and stuff, but maybe it's just a thing that they don't want word to get out that they have all these failures. So, like the government or somebody doesn't step in and be like, you can't,
But that's the thing. They're working with the government. Clearly, 50% of the government's people must have failed too.
Well, unless they're not. Yeah, but again, I guess they don't want the other 50% of the government looking into this, or they don't want all this public outcry where the government's like, oh, sorry, I know, we've been playing ball with you, but we got to step in.
Our bad. Yeah. Well, but that's the thing and that it's like immediately when you realize that, because I think this is where the lieutenant shows up this issue. No, it was last issue, but still, it's like clearly this is going to be Del Rusk. It's like clearly this is a government thing, and we're going to see that in the next issue.
Yeah,
where like, oh, GI Max, absolutely, and. But yeah, so we go into the sewers.
Well, here, let's do 329 before we get to 330.
Okay.
Well, Matt Shorter.
Okay, 329, Captain America. Great cover to live and die under LA. You see Cap fighting some sewer zombie-looking guys, which, if you've read the past couple issues, probably kind of curious about what happens. I was too. We don't really find out until the last panel of the last page. So this is where the storyline kind of takes a dip for me. I mean, they're building. We pick up where we left off from the last issue, except the Cap is now dressed in his costume when he was just Steve Rogers before. It'll happen again later, but for D-Man. D-Man breaks through a big, heavy door, finds a disappointing boiler room, decides he wants to go get some donuts and coffee to recharge. Dr. Malice tries to order some tea. D-Man tells him to shut up. So we learned about a semi-plot hole in the last issue, how the reason that Cap went to the wrestling gym is because Super Patriot's fighting style is what maybe tipped him off that he would have trained at this gym in LA. I don't know what it was about his fighting style. Maybe the fact that he didn't land a punch in 27 minutes. And wrestling isn't real. Maybe he stomped his foot every time he threw a punch. I don't know. And then you see a couple of augmented but less buff goons taking in the damage.
He kept trying to hit him with a ladder.
Into action, fending off their physical and verbal. He calls them flag face attacks. FBI agents are going to Avengers Mansion, pretty easily bypassing it with the security with a card. I think that's kind of strange.
FBI,
they'll get their comeuppance.
The Avengers trust them.
Cap fights way more goons as D-Man finishes his donut run and outsmarts a guard with a huge truck, saying that the D stands for delivery man. And then he gets in the truck and backs it through the front of the ice cream shop facade. Half the goons go to him, half still fight Cap.
Like,
who they call a Star-Spangled Banana.
Really
excellent work.
A higher bar set for henchmen.
Yeah, the goons try to use gas to get Cap and Dr. Malice, so he finds a sewer, but that's where all the failed augmentation experiments are. Quote, brain dead and prone to violence. And we see the security at Avengers Mansion was working because the shadowy feds are all wrapped up in non-quantum metallic tentacles, where they've been for a while until Captain Marvel, not Miss Marvel, she says, shows up. They check her ID and let them go, promising to pass the message that they're looking for Captain America because of a matter of national security. And meanwhile, we see D-Man has been taken by the goons, demasked, and identified as Augmentation Number 15 by the boss, and taken to a more secure facility. Then in the sewers, the failed experiments emerge, and Dr. Malice tries to escape as they descend on Cap, justifying the cover. Alright, so I liked it. You know what? This is just a little fresh in my mind. I felt that the story, the whole thing, is maybe an issue or two too long, but there's a whole issue that has a big chunk of recapping in the beginning. This was not bad. You get an ice cream shop fight, you get zombies at the end. It's a good cover. We're going. It's good. It's good. All right, that's it for this issue.
Thank you, Coda. So yes, on the Captain America 330.
Okay.
Demolition Man cracks up.
So where are we with this? So,
well, you got Cap still fighting the rejects in the sewer. Malice figures this is his chance to get away from Cap, and he's like, I hear a howling, but he figures it must just be the wind, but he runs toward it and away from the freaks and runs straight into a werewolf.
Yeah, Werewolf at Night, and this is for those who don't know, this is actually our classic Jack Russell. This is Jack Russell, the terrier. Jack Russell, the terrier. Our Werewolf by Night. This is when he had the more wolf-like form.
Yes.
Because they decided they needed a more wolf-like form. Probably related to the popularity of American Werewolf in London. They eventually go back to the classic Universal Studios style werewolf form for Jack Russell.
Well, I think he had gone back and forth between being in control of that persona too and not. So I think at this point he maybe he really wasn't in control of that. All Hulk style. Sometimes he's in control, sometimes he's not.
But you know why I love this issue particularly, Phil? Because it's Otto's gang!
The night shift, yeah, because Cap gets surrounded by these, the rejects, and that's when the night shift shows up.
Yeah, the night shift, who I did not realize, I mean, I guess I assumed they existed before Otto got there, but that they're now just a crew for hire, now that the Shade, whoever he is gone. Although I'm really disappointed that the Grimm brothers didn't do more fairy tale themed gadgets when they were working with Otto. I don't know if that was like a cost thing. They just didn't have the money, or they didn't have the tech to make their fairy tale themed gadgets. But they have all kinds of fairy tale themed gadgets in this.
Yep.
And then, I'm guessing just Otto was like, no, we're not doing that. I will not have my henchmen use fairy tale themed gadgets. Which, in that point, when the Brothers Grimm betray him, maybe it's because you were not a good boss, Otto.
True.
Maybe you needed an HR person in there.
Okay, I'm going out on a limb now. Kona, I know you're going to reference this panel where, make way for the Humpties, young masters of egg foo, as he's like throwing eggs. Grimm, can't you do anything without making inane banter? What are you saying, Moth Lady? You don't like my bad yolks? Kona, I'm calling it now. You're calling that out. I know you are. Yeah,
and that's delightful. Although, man, for like 5 seconds, I thought I was reading a Wonder Woman comic with the reference to egg foo. Which actually comes up later with the idea of using mind control as a way to control people, which Wonder Woman does all the time. It's like, yep, lasso truth. Nope, your mortal will is nothing. Tell me what's going on. So Cap's morally conflicted because this is, Grunwald's morally conflicted Cap.
Yeah, but like you were saying, you didn't know that some of these Night Shift characters were around before. I'm like, I think I haven't read all of them, but I think some of these characters might have been even like from before this, from like that first Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman series. I think.
No, I knew they all existed. I just didn't realize that they were like basically the West Coast Goons for hire. And like they really, for example, I know Gypsy Moth definitely premiered in Spider-Woman.
I think TikTok does too. TikTok,
I'm loving. This is actually the first time I've ever seen TikTok. And the idea that he just sees 10 seconds into the future is just amazing. It's just like, no, I see 10 seconds into the future, and I see, like, in, 90% of the 10 seconds, you die in this if you try to do this, so don't do that.
Well, where he shows up, kind of modern, a few years ago when Bendis did a Moon Knight run, he had TikTok in there.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, you know what I like about him is he reminds me of the original Mastermind Excello, who had a very similar power set that eventually Amadeus Cho models himself after before he becomes Bronze. So I was really excited because the first time I saw TikTok, I thought, oh, is that Egghead? No, it's not Egghead, it's TikTok. So,
but yeah, the Night Shift helps Cap take down the other freaks, and then the rest of they all show up, and there's the Shroud who throws him and Cap in a cloud of blackness where no one can overhear them.
Yeah, and then I totally saw what Shroud was going to do. It's like, look, you're going to have that dance macabre, do her dance to make you bend you to her will, but I'll make sure it's cool. And he basically just like puts the Shroud in his eyes so he can't see her.
Yes.
Which is brilliant. And he's like, yeah, I'm totally under my control now. So, yes.
Oh, yeah, because the Shroud is like, okay, you can act normal, except you just have to obey my orders, okay? And don't let the Night Shift come to harm, okay? Which Cap wanted him anyway.
Yes.
It's like, yes.
And then Needle murders a guy. So... Though Cap doesn't see that, so...
Yeah. Well, then they actually have her bind Malice, who tells them, where the power broker's at. So, they go to the power broker's mansion in the San Fernando Valley.
Yes.
Oh, my lord. You see this? The Night Shift shows up in black hearses.
Yeah, well, it's... as Megamind told us, you got to, the difference is like you're a villain, but you're not a super villain because you don't have style. And so they show up in hearses, which the Gravedigger, he gets a discount. He's a Gravedigger, so I'm sad that Gravedigger doesn't do the fourth wall breaks in this that he does in later when he does with Otto. So apparently Otto's like, you can do the fourth wall breaks, guy. You guys can't use silly fairy tale themed weapons. And it's like, Otto, you're all over the place here. Okay, you gotta rein it in, Otto. But man, all my heroes are dying in this. It's like, oh, I kind of see why Cap really wasn't that worried about finding D-Man now. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, Otto, you had bad managerial skills when it came to the Night Shift. So.
Yeah, because they storm the gates, they battle the broker's henchmen, they get into the house, and they get to the power broker's bedroom. Yeah, TikTok. Must be quick, his bed.
Yes. Well, TikTok, he's telling him, but he can only see 10 seconds into the future.
Yeah, because only Cap leaps onto the bed, which lowers into I guess it's like an elevator.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, he's got a private subway. Why do these supervillains waste this kind of money? And it's just like, man, it's like, you could start a hotline with this thing.
See, yeah.
Well, but for what it's worth, Cap, he's got that depression or frugality. $1 million, he started a whole hotline. You know? So it's like, you know, he knows the value of $1 and he knows how to use it wisely.
Because the power broker is revealed to be Curtis Jackson, formerly of the West Coast Corporation, last seen 100 issues ago in Captain America 230. I mean,
there we go. So,
which was discussed on episode 40 of the Quantum Zone. Thank you.
Well, there you go then. Yeah. So the what was it? The West Coast Syndicate. So yeah.
Yeah, because there was an East and West Coast Syndicate. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I know. The Eastern Syndicate is called out in Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
If you recall, they're who run Christmas. Is the big big East Coast Syndicate runs Christmas. So, which is why when Teen Titans revealed that Santa Claus is a villain, you shouldn't have been surprised.
Mm-hmm. But so yeah, like you said, the power broker has his own little subway to his private lab where they have D-Man and Sharon Ventura hooked up.
This is hard.
This is
hard to watch.
They're trying to see.
Well, next issue is hard to watch.
Yeah. They're experimenting with D-Man to see how much augmentation can a subject take, and I guess they're working on Sharon to see if they can de-augment her.
Why does Malice want to see people pop? And, not for nothing, it's not even going to be that good of a pop, because obviously the heart's going to pop first. Because it's striated muscle, it's going to get augmented. That striated muscle is the one that's going to pop first, and so it's not going to be a big pop.
I mean, unless it's like another money-making scheme, it's like, if they can perfect this either torture or killing method, and then they could sell that to people or something.
Do you really think people want to buy something that'll make people pop?
You don't think the Red Skull would be interested in that?
I mean, the Red Skull would be interested, but that's a market of like 5, And not for nothing, these are also guys who, like, if they really wanted to make people pop, could make them pop.
Well, then I guess Malice is just a sadist. I don't know.
Well, exactly. This is this thing. It's like, it's like if Dr. Doom wanted you to pop, he'd probably just drop something on you.
Yes.
It's like, I don't need to make you pop from the inside. That seems like way more work than it's worth. I don't see that. Yeah. I think that Dr. Doom is savvy enough with $1 to say, I don't need to figure out how to make you pop from the outside in or from the inside out. It's so, no, I mean, I get the idea of, well, if we could find out what the maximum level is, then we can say, okay, we can get you up to the maximum before you'll pop.
Yes.
But after that, you'll pop. But obviously, your heart's going to pop first, so it's like, have we not gotten there already?
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Cap comes in, shuts down the machines, then he goes in to free D-Man, and he gets locked in with them, and we see
D-Man's all crazy hopped up on the steroids.
Well, yeah, two of the scientists came down, and they locked Cap in, and they administered stimulant to Subject D.
TCP, as Lilith told us. And
so Dennis is just running amok like
that same drug saber given to freaking Super Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
Make him hyper aggressive.
So
they worked on the Punisher, so why not?
So Cap's just like dodging and weaving for like half an hour until Dennis collapses, and he says he's got he's like, it's pain, hard to breathe. My heart feels like a knife in it.
Yeah, well, he's having a heart attack.
Whoa, yeah.
That striated muscle, it's getting augmented too. It's like,
Mm-hmm. Because that's the end of that issue, is Cap doing CPR on D-Man.
I mean, obviously, and this is this weird thing where you have to make a point. It's like, well, actually, the bones and the tendons are likewise being augmented in these moments. It's because otherwise, you would just moving would crush you, which is one of the things I didn't like about the mutates, that they're not like really, if you're having a mutate that's having a problem with it, it's probably going to be, your bones didn't augment with your muscles.
I just wonder if that's part of the if that thing they don't have down with the technique is it's like, we can augment your muscles, but we have to figure out how to like augment your organs and your bones and everything at the same rate.
Yeah.
So.
And your brain. And actually, that's what happens with those mutates. It's like their brain can't handle all of the extra nerve stimuli coming from the muscles.
Or I think the freaks part of that was like their bodies. Some of them got deformed. I wonder if like your brain kind of physically gets deformed inside your skull too, maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have that super bone structure, maybe the skull is pushing it on the brain in that situation. Get a pinhead effect, you know. It's not cool.
All right.
None of it's cool, Phil. None of it's cool.
Before we get to the last issue, let's hear what Matt had to say about this one.
Issue 330. Here we go. The cover, Demolition Man cracks up, is a drastic step down from the previous issue, but hopefully not as misleading. And it looks as if it would be more on the cover, more at home on the cover of an issue of What the. But there's a great early quote by Cap in this where he says, "There's an art to fighting hordes of mentally disadvantaged brutes." Yes, there is. In fact, that art of fighting hordes of mentally disadvantaged brutes has been happening in comments sections of YouTube videos and on Facebook for many, many years. But this is physical. So, Dr. Malice is separated from Cap as he's fighting all these failed augmentation experiments, hoping not to be recognized. He hears scary sounds, he chalks it up to the wind, even though they're super deep underground, where no wind can blow. And then he encounters a giant werewolf-type creature. It is not Michael J. Fox or Jason Bateman. Then a strange faction of costumed people come up. They call themselves the Night Shift, not to be confused with the Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton movie about running a brothel out of a mortuary. We learn a lot of names and strange features of this motley crew, which is led by the Shroud. And one of them attacks the augmented failures with an acid meringue pie featuring blackbirds. What? Maybe there was some acid dropped when writing this. I don't know how big a hippie Gruenwald was. But
Grimm's fairy tales,
so
come on.
Their attack puzzles Cap as they make wisecracks about eggs and declare the tunnels belonging to Tatterdemillion.
Those uneducated Boston guys.
They have a Wasp-esque member called Moth Lady, a.k.a. Gypsy, and
that is the person
wannabe called Beanstalk that we don't really see that much of after the fight. There's a random bald guy with a stopwatch. His name is TikTok.
Yeah, I kind of
forget about him. He has a huge social media presence nowadays, I'm guessing.
He's crazy.
They talk about being confused about what Cap is doing there. Their orders were to just subdue the augmented experimentations. Cap looks for Malice. He finds a Wolfman, not to be confused with Cap Wolf. That'll come at the end of Grunwald's run. And the augmentation zombies are fought. Malice hides behind the Shroud and TikTok. The Shroud makes some soundproof darkness and tells Cap he's basically working undercover, leading a band of criminals to fight other criminals. And then he gets the lowdown from about Malice from Cap and asks if he can beat him up a little so his street cred is not blown. So he wants this vigilante criminal group to think that he just made darkness around Captain America, beat him up a little bit, and he's going to be bent to their will. All right. But first, he has to be subjected to a devotion dance from Dancin', spelled like sort of like Ted Danson, but with an E, not an O. Not like dancing, as in dancing, dance to the music, whatever. It promises the dance won't actually affect Cap because he installed some darkness in front of his eyes and to act as he normally would, but to never let any harm befall the Night Shift. She does the dance to Dr. Malice, and then he spills the beans on the experiments. That actually works for him. They raid the lab. There's the Mr. Sinister lookalike guy that throws eggs. He makes a weird star contraption out of magic. I don't remember what they really do with that. And then they take out this very regular-looking Rent-A-Cop type guard. There's some slightly more augmented-looking guards come in. They fight. Eggs are thrown, of course, and then they make their way into the house by joining hands, making a chain of darkness, so they kind of get past the guards, but also punch out of the darkness into the guards. So basically, under the nose, into the nose.
When you think about it.
Cap finds the elusive Power Breaker, identifies him as Curtis Jackson from the West Coast Corporation, a cartel of evil businessmen. Another fitting thing to present-day life. There's probably a lot of West Coast corporations out there today. This guy's so rich he has his own subway tunnel. Captain Man's to be taken to D-Man. He finds D-Man in a similar device that Demolition Dunphy saved him from, but he's not alone. Another great Cap quote. It's D-Man and some woman, which is pretty funny. She looks like she's wearing an upside-down Wonder Woman costume with long sleeves. D-Man has now ballooned to the size of a Liefeld drawn, a Rob Liefeld drawn Cap, and breaks out with some augmentation rage. They fight. Cap eludes him until he's worn out, then his body starts failing, and Cap administers CPR, justifying the cover. And that's it. It's gonna get concluded. One more wrap-up.
All right.
Just out of curiosity, does this predate Bane?
Bane? Yes. Yeah, Bane doesn't show up till 92. So yeah, this way.
Yeah, because you realize that like that whole hose pumping the goop into D-Man?
Yeah.
It's a very similar like image to that stuff pumping the muscles into Bane.
Except Bane, it goes right into his head. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, Bane's not dumb and crazy, but he's the lucky 50%. You know, most people who get shot up with venom actually have a bad time. Bane's like the one guy that can handle
having a good time. Yes. So yes.
Yeah, he's the villainous Captain America. Is Bane.
All right, final issue, Captain America 331.
G.I. Max.
That's right.
Oh, I'm like so mad that G.I. Max ends poorly.
Write the story.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, spoilers, guys, for a book from 30 years ago.
I know. But I mean...
You know, I'm sorry, but no, G.I. Max was cool.
Well, I think he was written as...
He had no...
They even kind of call it out here. I think he was kind of like a bargain basement Nuke. Once they bring Nuke back, it's just like, well, why do we need G.I. Max?
Well, first off, why do you keep on bringing poor Nuke back? Let the man die.
I know.
Let the man die. Let the man deal with his universal judgment however he has to. Trust me, Dave will be kind to him. That's his name. Don't ever say the other thing.
Charlie Esser's been putting that Marvel Unlimited to good use. Secret Wars 2.
Number 6.
But yeah, this whole thing starts with, Cap's like recapping the last couple issues in his head while he's giving D-Man CPR, but then, Shroud and the Night Shift show up, and they call an ambulance.
Can I just say I like how annoying the entire recap first half of the issue is in this?
Well, back in this day, there's
no. And for as much as I love Shooter, this is Shooter. This is like every comic book is someone's first.
Yeah.
So make sure when they come in, they know what's going on.
And remember, back in this day, a lot of people were. I mean, were there specialty stores? But I mean, most people were probably getting them off the rack, and on the newsstand, there was no guarantee you were going to get the next issue.
I know that personally, from my own life. That's why I started my love of the thing with the final issue of Rocky Ben Grimm's Space Ranger, bought at the Lawson's up the street from my house. Lawson's Hill, man, best place to ride your bike.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that's a memory that's stuck in there. But yeah, I mean, it's just, here's the thing. Like when I read that last issue of Rocky Ben Grimm's Space Ranger, I didn't get all this exposition. Grunwald is milking the exposition so that he doesn't have to write as many panels. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be honest about it. Some people are exploiting the exposition that good man Jim Shooter asked them to do and is making it problematic. They're taking what should have ended last issue and making it go into another issue. Just so they can get that filthy, filthy lucre. Which, because you don't get paid anything as a comic book artist and a writer, I understand why they did.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, come on, dudes. Come on.
Oh, then we get, Sharon Ventura. Sharon Ventura's loose and not having a good reaction.
Oh, man. Oh gosh, this is one of those.
So they just.
This is one of those difficult issues.
Yeah, I mean, in this issue, they only have it like say she was attacked, but I mean, I don't know if they ever came out and said it, but I mean, she was gang raped, right?
No, they never said it, but there are.
But it's heavily implied, right?
Well, you'll notice the tattered nature of her costume.
Yeah, like the bottom.
And because if you see her original costume, it's a onesie.
Yeah, it's like a swimsuit.
It's not a onesie. And that is very problematic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not problematic because this is an issue we have to talk about and is an issue that is real, but the reality we have to acknowledge in this moment is that yes, that's what happened.
Because I mean,
the reality.
Because that's what I was going to say. This is another example of like Malice and the Power Broker are sadists.
They're not good people. This reminds me of how much now I'm mad at Jessica Jones for trying to imply Malice was anything else
exactly
than who he was. And the thing is, it's all there in Jessica Jones who Malice was.
Oh, yeah.
In the way he treats Jessica's mom, who's got it going on.
Because because that's what I think. It's like in Jessica Jones, they made Malice's evil much more subtle, you know.
Well, they do, because they want to make it say, hey, this is a guy who actually could get through grad school. You know? But really, is it that hard to get through grad school?
Yes.
They don't care if you're evil, they care if you're sloppy. You know? That is that's a great line from Epic Rap Battles of History, Jack the Ripper versus Hannibal Lecter. It's a great line where in their rap battle, you know, Hannibal Lecter says, "I don't care that you're evil, I hate that you're sloppy." And that is the truth of grad school. Is they don't care that you're evil, but they do hate if you're sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a evil Malice who is not sloppy. Our Malice in Jessica Jones is probably a bit more sloppy. I'll be honest. And he wants, and that's the thing. I think you actually take away from a character when you want them to be liked.
Yeah.
Hitler didn't want to be liked. Hitler wanted to be the Aryan Superman. And, you know, his followers were willing to deal with that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, you can say in reality, among dumber people like, you know, other politicians, they do want to be liked as well, but they're not going to be. And what makes you a truly evil threat is when you accept that I'm not going to be liked because of what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's the Malice we get here.
Yeah.
He is not going to be liked, and he doesn't care. He's got what he's doing. You know, he's no Otto Octavius. We can say that for sure.
You know he's evil. He's wearing his sunglasses indoors. Come on.
Is he wearing sunglasses? Oh, by the way, can I just say...
I mean, they look pretty dark.
How weird it is that they recolored him as a blonde?
Who? Malice?
Malice. Maybe it was last issue they recolored him as a blonde.
Maybe. There might have been one. Yeah, but, I mean, yeah, he's got dark hair and dark glasses here.
So it was the issue before this. They recolored him as a blonde. And at least in the Marvel Unlimited version.
Okay.
See, Phil has the hard copies. I don't even know what Marvel wants me to know. So, that's the problems with Marvel Unlimited. I mean, I could go and find all my original issues from the old days, but
yeah,
this isn't even among them because it's mostly G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, that's an investment that never pays off because, you know, G.I. Joe, was known by Marvel. So it's like, even when Larry Hama went and did whatever else he did, it's like, you know.
Yeah.
The universes.
So,
but yeah, no, they color him as blonde in the issue previous. So,
but yeah, so yeah, like I said, Sharon freaks out. Captain America tries to like calm her down, gives her the Shroud's cape, and he's like, "Don't worry."
He does.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, you know, he almost immediately like trusts her, which is like, I don't know if that's because Cap is just like the ultimate judge of character, and to be fair, he's right.
Well, too, I mean, she was locked up in this lab, so it's like, you know, you're obviously an enemy of the power broker, so that automatically scores you points.
Let me put it this way. Later, he puts her in charge of watching them.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, wow, she could really, like, just snap his neck if she wanted to right now.
Yeah.
You know. Now, in an issue, actually, I might have it, but when she drops off Sharon Ventura at Captain America, you know, she has to ride. First off, I don't know why, because he has a van.
Oh, that Fantastic Four issue, yeah.
Ride on a motorcycle. And she's, like, really uncomfortable riding on the back of his motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you just drive the van back?
True.
Dude, I mean,
True.
really, she could have sat in the passenger seat and listened to the tunes, put her foot up on the dashboard.
I mean,
but you're gonna make her ride on the back of your motorcycle.
That was the Fantastic Four book. So unless the writer didn't know about the van, I don't know.
It's possible. That was burnt. Well, no, that wasn't burnt. No, that wasn't burnt. That was someone else.
No, that was like, what was it, like 307 or so. It was like, it was early 300.
I remember
issues.
that issue because there's a whole thing about. Because that's where I first found out about this, and this is where we get it, and we actually see the tattered costume with the tattering where the tattering shouldn't be.
Yes.
And I get the idea that there's a lot of comics coterie in this, where it's definitely tattered, but kind of like implied that, no, that's just layer one. There's 3 other layers.
Well, yeah, there's like coloring, so yeah.
Yeah, they gotta make it work. I mean, they gotta make it work. It's still a kid's book, but they want to talk about a very real problem.
Yes.
And that's sort of the problem they're dealing with in this story. It's like, boy, these are very real problems. Oh, and there's a comics code.
But
yeah, that was not a symbol Diamond should have chosen. But yes, that's a whole other bag of hammers.
But yeah, so once Sharon's calmed down, Cap, I guess they're waiting for the ambulance, but they try to de-augment D-Man down to where he was before to take some of the strain off his heart.
Well, the 2 doctors that are there actually deal with him. They don't really say they de-augment him, but they do say that they
at least bring it down a little bit.
Well, no, what they say is, okay, he's fine. He's basically at his basic level. That basically they've stabilized him. He's worn himself down. They don't really suggest that they've done a de-augmentation process because, as we see, the de-augmentation process doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ms. Marvel, as we know, is fully augmented after being under the de-augmentation lights as long as D-Man, longer than D-Man was, arguably.
Yes.
And so she is. So there is no de-augmentation process. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Even though repeatedly throughout history someone will find a way to undo the super soldier serum and Cap and turn him back into, scrawny Steve Rogers, which, sure, why not? Sure, why not? It's comic books, At a certain point, you got to be willing to say, you know what, I know you guys don't care about continuity, you writers, and I know you don't care about whether or not it makes sense scientifically, story-wise, but, okay, it's comic books.
Yeah.
You're going to do what you're going to do. We're going to read them. It's fine. We have this love-hate relationship with you. And life continues.
But yeah, so then they call an ambulance, and the power broker's thinking, my ace in the hole showing up at 8:00, and Shroud's kind of like, yeah, the authorities are on their way. Me and my guys are wanted by the law, so if you have things under control here, Cap, I think we're just going to slink off into the night.
And then Cap is still getting this moral ambiguity. It's like, I don't know. I don't know this Cap. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not the Cap that... it's sort of like this point where I'm like, I'm kind of glad I skipped these issues.
Mm-hmm.
Because I catch up when he is the captain.
Yeah.
But it's like these issues, like, so existentially, like, I don't know, they have warrants. It's like, dude, sometimes the letter of the law isn't the important thing.
Well, I don't know, too, if Grunwald...
Do these people help you?
I don't know if Grunwald was trying to show this one extreme, because then once he becomes the captain, it's just like, do I follow the letter of the law? Can I follow the letter of the law, now that I'm not Captain America?
You can't, Cap.
No.
You can't follow the letter of the law. You have to follow the spirit of the law.
I think that's why they
You have to control by consent.
Yeah.
There's an interesting term I've recently learned, which is an idea they have over with the bobbies in England, which is this idea that, yes, you have to control, but you can't control through the letter of the law. You have to control through consent of the governed. You have to work with your community to understand the right way to work things. Now, in its own case, that does lead to its own corruption, because then it's like, well, the community works better when we let the kingpin do his thing. Mm-hmm. So it's there's problems with everything, but yeah. But hey, GI Max.
Oh yeah, the Army helicopter shows up, Lieutenant Michael Lynch, and that's when Sharon Ventura comes out and screaming, "Michael, you betrayed me!" And that's when all these soldiers try to tackle her, and Cap's like trying to like throw them off her, and he's like, "This is crazy." Then he pulls everyone back in the house, and Sharon's telling Cap about the whole thing about meeting Lynch and how he set her up and everything to be captured by, and everything with the power broker. Yeah, that's when GI Max pops out. GI Max.
Yeah, GI Max, who dies because the freaking bullet ricochets and hits his carotid, and
I know one bullet.
Nothing you can do.
One bullet is.
Which is kind of like, oh wow, which again goes into this idea: give the guy freaking battle armor.
Seriously.
It's like he doesn't have bulletproof skin. You know that. You did the test.
I mean, he's basically fighting in a tank top. He's basically fighting in a tank top. I know.
It's like, what are you thinking? Again, you're bad at your job, Lieutenant. You deserve every bit of this honorable discharge you're getting and your time in Leavenworth afterward because you're bad at your job.
Mm-hmm.
You are not doing right for everything else you're doing. Because, hey, Project Rebirth, it's a thing. We do it. We experiment on people. Fine. But you're bad at your job. You know your guy's not bulletproof. You're sending him into a fight with Captain America where people are going to be shooting stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because Lynch tries to kill Cap, and the ricochet, kills GI Max, which they say at the end, pronounced dead at the hospital. Lynch is...
Well, yeah, but it is just that... And again, why are you shooting Cap?
He's going to rat on me to my superior.
But, it's like... You're going to shoot the guy who's had 1 billion bullets shot at him
I know.
in the last 80 years.
And
but you're going to be the one that gets the shot.
I know. I know exactly.
And Cap's wearing chainmail armor.
Plus, he's got a piece of indestructible metal on his arm, too.
I know. It's like, in what universe was this a good idea? We don't care that you're evil. We hate that you're sloppy, Michael. Ugh.
I mean, he's in the middle of a fight. Like, he's going to drop that shield. Come on.
Yeah, well, exactly. And like, he doesn't know you're sitting there with a gun. I'm going to shoot him with my gun.
Yes.
Okay, Barney.
But yeah, I just love the epilogue thing. Yeah, GI Max is dead. Lynch has been reassigned to administrative work. Curtis Jackson was arrested and released on $1 million bail, and he's still in the augmentation business. D-Man is listed in stable condition.
Just show that the system is corrupt to its core.
Yes. And they say...
If only there was an effort to, deal with these bad apples and get them out of the cart and maybe defund the organizations that are,
yes,
allowing people like Del Rusk to push it forward. So, yeah.
But, yeah, they say, Sharon Ventura traveling east. I'm surprised they do a footnote or anything and be like, yeah, see, Fantastic Four, I think it's 307. It's like 307 or 308. I'm surprised there's no footnote there.
Well, no, I mean, because I remember that issue. It was a cool issue. Because I loved when the Thing and Sharon reconnect. And honestly, the madness of it is, clearly written by, white male nerds. Just the whole, I can be with you because you're not really a man. It's like, wow, that's just what I want to hear.
You don't have a real body. Yeah, I know.
And again, we never know if he's got a rocky pair of rocks.
I know.
You know.
I mean, I don't want to say she shouldn't have been on his team, but it's just like she should have been in intense therapy, though, also.
Well, yes, absolutely. You know, again, so many superheroes. Like if Doc Samson wasn't evil, you know, wow, Carla Soffin, Doc Samson. Are there any superpowered psychiatrists who aren't evil?
Psychiatry is evil in the Marvel universe.
Well, for what it's worth, that's like the one thing that's good about like Rick and Morty is that the psychiatrist in that, she's not a superpowered being. She's just like calling you out on your BS, and maybe that is exactly what Sharon Ventura, Wanda Maximoff, and everybody else just needed, is someone to talk to them and listen to them and walk them through. And, you know, freaking Ty Burrell is not the man to do it. He's too up in his own business. So
yes. Oh,
that's the problem we find ourselves at.
My favorite epilogue: the Shroud brought the failed augments to the Power Broker's estate for treatment. As he vowed, the augments have caused $10 million in property damage so far. The Shroud remains at large.
Well, yeah, because, you know, at least they have a house to live in.
Yeah.
So good for that. And again, you know, I would love to see a story about a guy who was like a failed augment who eventually like stabilized. Like, you know, it's like Knucklo. You know, when Knucklo first appeared, he's like this, I'm radioactive and I'm mad and I was a baby and I have no concept. like later, like Knucklo's like, no, I got superhuman strength and, you know, and I'm a dude now. It's like Dan Germain. There are probably so many Dan Germains out there. Dan Germain is a guy who fell in a rock chemical vat and became super strong and indestructible, but just wanted to go back to a day job, man.
Yes.
You know, he just wanted to not have to deal with the stress of being a superhuman.
All right, so, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we are like 15 minutes into the next show.
I know. So, well, I'll play Matt's last feedback, and then Ray's just sent feedback for the overall arc, so.
Great. I can't wait for Ray.
Yes.
Okay, issue 331. Big conclusion. Starts, of course, with the giant... Well, let's talk about the cover. Strange cover. Cap is teamed up with some woman while a budget Punisher wields guns. And his back is to them. We don't know who this person is. Hasn't been introduced. We also really don't know who this some woman is either. But Cap spends a few pages doing some life-saving resuscitation as he sort of recaps the events of the previous issues until the Shroud interrupts him and they get some medical attention to D-Man and he gets the woman released. TikTok is giving constant updates about how many seconds away things are going to happen with his trusty stopwatch. He does that a bunch. It's kind of weird, kind of like it, kind of annoyed by it. So the woman freaks out when she's released. She's in augmented rage. Cap tries to reason with her. He gives her his shields to make her feel safe. She uses it against him, but eventually calms down. They try to reverse the augmentation on D-Man, while the feds get mad about the Steve Rogers tax payment government thing not being resolved yet. TikTok continues to report way too many details on times, even annoying some of the characters in the book. They're about to transport D-Man to a new facility. They call an ambulance. They put his mask back on him just so he won't be recognized, I guess. I don't know. A military copter shows up instead of paramedics, and they say they've been having their soldiers augmented, but are also investigating the power broker. We don't really know what's going on with that. It seems a little sketchy. Cap starts thinking the same thing. The woman and Cap, they take off. They bring the power breaker with them for insurance. The woman, who officially gets referred to as Ms. Marvel, fills them in on her backstory and the connection between the military and the power broker. The military sends G.I. Max, a 7-foot-tall, probably 400-pound brute, a handgun and a machine gun with a bayonet after him.
And a tank top.
Cap thinks about the fact that he's fighting a soldier again for the second time recently. He also did so in a recent Daredevil issue. And then about how the military must have given up on the super soldier serum and they're going with augmentation instead. They fight for a while. to lynch the leader of this part of the military, Task Force 17, I guess, shoots a gun, it deflects off Cap's shield and into G.I. Max's jugular. Pretty graphic panel with a big pool of blood. And then we see an epilogue, which is pretty much all a bummer. D-Man is thinking about going back to wrestling. The power broker was arrested, but he posted $1 million bail, and he's still in the augmentation business. The military is essentially slapped on the wrist. G.I. Max his existence is basically denied by the government. And Cap is on his way to Washington to let them know what's really going on, with Ms. Marvel coming east with them. But he has no idea about the tax man getting to him. And then it teases the next issue, Captain America, as we know it, is done. What? Are taxes and payments going to be the one that could do the things that...
That's how they got Capone.
That's how they got Al Capone.
Yes. Captain America. I don't know. Anyway, it was a pretty enjoyable storyline. Maybe a little harder for me to read straight through in this fashion, but overall, I enjoyed the quips and the ridiculousness
constant
of some
recaps?
of the things, the building. I don't know. It was pretty well put together. I think they could have maybe squeezed it into one issue less, but hey, you printed money, selling issues. I understand the commerce of comics. That's it. Thanks for letting me talk so much. If you have played these all, hi Lilith, hi Phil, and I'm Matt Kona. Have a good one.
Everyone knows Matt Kona.
You know, you really think about it, you realize that this was maybe the way that the writers and the artists were protesting freaking Jim Shooter at the time.
Oh, do we need recaps?
Let's just do recaps. Let's 4 pages recaps every issue. Because that was before someone thought, hey, why don't we just put like a quick recap, like a 1-paragraph recap that's at the start of every book. So...
All right. So before we get out of here, now we got Ray.
What's our friend from down under have to say?
Let's see, Ray from Into the Night.
What's coming out of the pouch.
From Into the Night and Moon Knight podcast.
Yeah, Lilith and Phil, this is Ray. I'm dropping in some very early. When I say early, I'm recording this way before the release of the show. Some early feedback on Captain America issues 327 to 331. Now, off the bat, I'm just going to say I really did enjoy this. I'm hoping you did too, Lilith. I know, Phil, you probably did, yes. Most likely. But no, I enjoyed this quite a lot, actually. Look, there's no secret I'm a bit of a Grunwald fan as well, and I find his writing, above par on this, similar to his work in Quasar. The characters were all very interesting. I love the introduction to Dennis Dunphy, D-Man. I enjoyed the first issue with Super Patriot, and what I found really cool is how Captain America is very much like the underdog. Like I guess in the movies and stuff, and for the most part, he's very self-assured, and is really just unbeatable. I love how Grunwald sets this up over the 5 issues that he's actually fighting augmented characters, and of course he's come across them before, but how he's very much behind the 8 ball here, and he has to struggle and just use his fighting ability more than his actual peak human physical condition to beat them. I mean, he doesn't even really beat Super Patriot, but I like the introduction of Demolition Man. He's great, he's awesome, and I've heard that he's more recently come back as well. Interesting to see where he goes. I absolutely loved the introduction of Night Shift. It brought me back to the Brian Michael Bendis Night Run. And Phil, TikTok, there he is.
Told ya.
TikTok makes a return. But I love all the characters. The Brothers Grimm, I've only really seen them in the Acts of Vengeance against Cosmic Spidey. I want to see more of them because I love this whole magical / fairy tale aspect of them. Tatterdemalion, I read about him in the Marvel Universe. I've actually never seen him in action. It's good to see him there. We get the Dance Macabre. She was in the Moon Knight run with TikTok, so Night Shift kind of consistent in that regard. But also, I think one of my new favourite characters, the Shroud. I love this idea about how he's, and I know it's been alluded to before, but how he is kind of going undercover, and he passes himself off as a criminal, but he's actually trying to fight the crime from within.
I
love how he's a leader of the night shift. I love his powers.
He was Reverse Thunderbolts
in West Coast Avengers, and I think to the extent maybe Daredevil, I can't remember, but very cool characters. So big props there to see TikTok again, and he's just as annoying as he was in the Moon Knight run. There's so many other. Oh yes, of course. Just finally, quickly. Beautiful references, because I only just recently read around the 300 mark, issue 306, I know, of the Fantastic Four in the Epic Collection, which actually ties into this with Miss Marvel. So it was really cool to see her in this, because in the Fantastic Four issue, you get a bit of her origin, how she's actually been abused. It's alluded to, like, physically, mentally, and potentially sexually, with Malice's henchmen while she was captive, and she was restrained by. It's actually before Curtis Jackson. But I guess when she first got her powers, she was abused by Malice's henchmen. So that's why she really hates men, and she's very traumatized, and you see that in this in this run of Captain America. So I love how that kind of tied into what I read before, and also as well the reference to Daredevil 233 with Captain America and Nuke, i.e. one of the best stories of Born Again for Daredevil. Again, I'm liking how these kind of linked in. There's a lot more continuity here than there is these days with Marvel, and I really very much appreciate it. But yeah, I'm interested in what's happening to Captain America now. It looks like he's going to face the authorities, and I love how Grunwald has set up that not only the military but the government are up against Captain America now. And finally, at the end, the very last page of 331, I thought was really cool. It was a good way of Grunwald for wrapping up a lot of loose ends in this whole arc. So just the mug shots of each of the characters, and it's similar to like the end of a TV show or a movie where you figure out what happens later to a person.
It's a show he's referencing.
Like a documentary. But really enjoyable. I enjoyed this. Lilith, I hope you enjoyed this, because this is good stuff.
She faked the power failure, Ray.
You know, your smack bang action or
no,
your Spidey and stuff, which is a lot more lighthearted,
the armadillos and the frogs
and a lot more relationship built. But you do get a sense of a vulnerability for Captain America here, and I like it. I mean, just that he has to rely on his wiles more than anything else. But anyway, going to hear what you guys have to say. Keep it up. I'm looking forward to all the other issues. Cheers.
Thank you, Ray. And I can't believe you didn't mention the one night shift character I was sure you were going to bring up, Werewolf by Night, who was, what was it? Werewolf by Night 32, is it? The first appearance of Moon Knight? I'm surprised you did not bring that up and make that connection.
They are both tied to the moon, which is Khonshu's central power base.
And that was Moon Knight's first appearance in Werewolf by Night's books. So I'm surprised he did not mention that. Slacking Ray. All right. So any final...
I'm feeling very Mandela right now. I don't know.
Exactly. All right. Anything else, Charlie S., or should we get out of here so we can do another show?
Well, we're a half hour into the last show, into the next show. So yes, let's get out of here.
Yes.
But, hey, do you want to do the promos, or would you like me to?
I'll do it. All right, everyone. Okay. Send your thoughts, because next episode, and again, next week, we're going to be covering that big one, Captain America 332. I think we're going 332 to 336. But, I mean, send in your thoughts, because we're going to be going all the way to 350. But, yeah, next one is the big one, Cap 332. I think everyone knows what that is. Email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember to follow Comic Capers on Facebook, Twitter. Follow all of our social media. Follow everything all in one convenient place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. And remember to support our sponsors. Tweaked Audio. Get yourself some good headphones. Hunt a Killer. Be the hero of your own story. And check out Pod Life the book. If you have any kind of interest, passing or great in podcasting, please pick up Volume 1 of Pod Life the book, because Volume 2 is in the works. So go pick up the first volume before Volume 2 comes out. And when you know you're going to buy that on Amazon. So when you do, use the Southgate Media Group link right down there in the show notes. Doesn't matter if it's YouTube or the podcast. It's in the show notes. Thank you for the sign language, Charlie Esser. Anyway, so use the link. Help support this show, the Southgate Media Group Network, and that absolute madman, Rob Master Doom Southgate.
I get so much right. Mark my words.
Charles Esser.
Well, if you'd like to write to me in an old-fashioned email way, the way we did in 1986, when these issues first came out, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitters at live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I do now, because I can stay up that late, because I'm a grown-up, at Charlie Esser, CHARLIE. Yes, SCR. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz.
Thank you, Maz. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone, for this extra long Comic Capers. Again, come back next week as the Cap story continues. And hey, big shout out to the Facebook group, Captain America comic book fans. All they discuss is Captain America comics, not even the movies or anything. So if you're a Captain America comic book fan, go join that Facebook group.
I like Captain America comics. They're very good.
Of course.
Captain America is cool.
Cap is cool. I just gave you a new...
but not cool like... He's like cool like...
Like do the right thing cool.
Yeah, you know, it's like do the right thing that's hard. It's like, make a decision that doesn't necessarily benefit you, but actually benefits humanity, because humans are one thing, and we should all be human.